Claire's card had just been declined while she was trying to buy a $4 cup of coffee at a convenience store beside a gas station. She stood beneath the flickering white lights, opened her Chase app, and looked at the balance in her checking account. Less than $600. Payday was still nearly a week away. Her rent was almost due. Her latest Costco bill had come to more than $200, and she still had over $28,000 in student loan debt. The cashier glanced up at the electronic sign, then asked, "The Powerball jackpot is over $400 million tonight. Do you want to add a ticket?" Claire laughed. $2 could not make her rich, but it was not enough to destroy her monthly budget either. She bought one ticket, slipped it into her wallet, and drove her 2017 Honda CR-V back to her one-bedroom apartment in Columbus, Ohio. 2 days later, on Sunday morning, Claire saw the Powerball results on her phone. She took out the ticket and began checking the numbers. The first number matched. The second number matched too. When the third number matched, Claire set the laundry basket down on the floor. The fourth number, correct. The fifth number, also correct. Only the final Powerball remained. Claire looked at the screen, then back at the ticket. Once, then one more time. Every number matched. Claire had won the jackpot. But she did not scream. She did not call her parents. She did not text her best friend. And she did not take a picture of the ticket and post it on social media. She opened the official Ohio Lottery website, checked the results again on another device, then compared them for a third time. The results had not changed. The $2 ticket in her hand could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But the first thing Claire thought about was not a mansion, not a luxury car, and not quitting her job. She opened Google and searched, "What should a lottery winner do first? Should I sign the back of the ticket immediately? Should I take the lump sum or the annuity? How much will taxes take? Can a lottery winner remain anonymous?" Within 1 hour, Claire realized something important. Winning the lottery was not simply about receiving a large amount of money. It was also a legal decision, a tax decision, and an investment decision that could affect the rest of her life. Sometimes, the smartest thing to do after becoming rich overnight is to continue living as if nothing had happened. Claire was 29 years old. She worked as a supply chain coordinator for a national retail company and earned about $68,000 a year. Claire was not poor. She had paid off her Honda. She had more than $20,000 in her 401k retirement account, and she had an emergency fund that could cover about 3 months of expenses. But after taxes, nearly $1,500 in rent, insurance, electricity, internet, groceries, and student loan payments, there was not much room left in her budget. Before that day, Claire's biggest goals were simple: pay off her debt, increase her 401k contributions, and buy a small house before she turned 35. Now, every one of those goals could be achieved immediately. And that was exactly why Claire's greatest risk was no longer running out of money. Her greatest risk was making too many decisions while her emotions were still at their highest point. Claire photographed both sides of the ticket, placed it inside a waterproof bag, and locked it in the small safe in her bedroom closet. Then she made a list of 3 people she needed to meet before claiming the prize: an attorney experienced in handling large estates, a CPA who specialized in taxes, and a financial advisor with a fiduciary duty to put the client's interests first. On Monday morning, Claire still drove her old Honda to the office. She still bought a small cup of coffee, still clipped on her employee badge, and still attended the 8:30 meeting. Her coworkers were still talking about grocery prices, mortgage rates, and how much they should contribute to their 401k accounts. No one knew that the person sitting beside them might have just become one of the wealthiest people in the city. From the outside, nothing had changed, but Claire knew that one careless decision could change everything. Continuing to work did more than help Claire protect her privacy. It also gave her time to think before changing her entire life. During her lunch break, Claire called 3 law offices. The first office had no available appointments. She called the second. No one answered. Then Claire called the third office. This time, a woman picked up. The office agreed to arrange a private meeting the following morning. But before ending the call, the assistant asked,
"That works.
"Have you signed the back of the ticket?" Claire looked down at the wallet beside her.
Did you remember to
No.
sign the back of the ticket?"
The assistant was silent for a moment. "Good. Do not take any additional steps until the attorney has reviewed your state's claiming rules." At the meeting, the attorney explained that the advertised jackpot of more than $400 million was not necessarily the amount Claire could receive immediately. She had to consider 2 options. The first option was an annuity. That meant the prize would be paid out annually over several decades. The second option was a one-time lump sum payment, but its value would be significantly lower than the advertised jackpot. Then there were federal taxes and other possible tax obligations depending on where she lived, how she claimed the prize, and which legal structure was used. For that reason, Claire did not build her financial plan around the $400 million figure. She waited for the CPA to estimate how much money would actually remain after taxes. This was the first financial lesson. Do not spend based on income before taxes. Do not treat unconfirmed money as money you are free to use. And do not make major decisions before fully understanding the legal obligations attached to that money. The attorney also reminded Claire that an ordinary checking account was not an appropriate place to hold an enormous fortune. She needed to separate 3 things: the money reserved for taxes, the money needed for short-term expenses, and the assets intended for long-term investment. She also needed to update her will, review her beneficiaries, and create an estate plan before she began giving money to her family. That evening, Claire sat down at the dining table and divided a sheet of paper into 3 sections. The first section was titled Things to Do Now. Protect the ticket. Hire an attorney and a CPA. Determine the actual amount remaining after taxes. Create a privacy plan. Pay off high-cost debt. And establish a cash reserve large enough to cover several years of basic living expenses. The second section was titled Things That Can Wait. Buy a house. Replace the car. Quit her job. Help her parents. Create a charitable fund. None of these things were forbidden, but each one needed a clearly defined limit. And none of them would happen until the overall financial plan was complete. Then Claire reached the final section. She wrote the title in capital letters. Do not do these things during the first year. Do not announce the win on social media. Do not lend money simply because saying no feels uncomfortable. Do not invest in restaurants, cryptocurrency, real estate, or any business she does not understand. Do not buy the most expensive house a bank says she can afford. And do not change her entire lifestyle within a few weeks. Claire also reviewed her student loan balance of more than $28,000. With her new wealth, she could pay it off immediately. But her CPA still reviewed the interest rate, the terms of the loan, and the effect on her cash flow before recommending a final decision. For high-interest debt, paying it off can offer an almost certain benefit. It eliminates the interest expense charged every month. But with low-interest debt, the decision is not always as simple. The choice between paying it off immediately and continuing with the scheduled payments depends on a person's goals, their need for liquidity, and their overall financial plan. After setting aside enough money for taxes and short-term needs, Claire began building a diversified investment portfolio. The core of the portfolio included low-cost index funds tracking the U.S. market, treasury securities, and cash reserved for expenses expected in the near future. Claire was not searching for a stock that could increase tenfold. She did not place her entire fortune under the control of one person. And she did not consider the highest possible return to be her most important objective. For Claire, the first objective was to avoid making a mistake large enough to destroy the entire fortune. She also created a rule for every investment opportunity presented to her. Every proposal had to be submitted in writing. She would not make a decision during a phone call, not during a dinner, and not during a family conversation. Her attorney and financial advisor had to review it first. If Claire could not explain how the investment made money, where the risks were, and how long her money would remain locked up, she would say no. 3 months later, from the outside, Claire's life appeared almost unchanged. She still went to work, still shopped at Costco, and still drove her old Honda. But behind those ordinary routines, her financial plan had changed completely. The money reserved for taxes had been separated. Her student loans were being handled according to the plan. Her investment portfolio had been designed around the level of risk she could genuinely accept. Her will and beneficiary designations had also been updated. Claire set aside a fixed amount of money to help her parents, but she did not promise to solve every financial problem faced by every member of her family. That was a difficult boundary, but it was necessary. Because when someone suddenly has more money, unlimited assistance can quickly become an obligation that never ends. Nearly 1 year later, Claire finally began changing her life. She bought a larger home, but she did not choose the most expensive property she could afford. She replaced the Honda with a newer vehicle that was safer and more reliable. But she did not buy a car simply to impress other people. She took her parents on a vacation and supported their retirement plan within a limit that had been calculated in advance. Then, Claire left her old job. But she did not quit during the first week while her emotions were still unsettled. She left only after she had created a plan for how she would use her time, established long-term goals, and built a financial system that did not depend on impulsive decisions. Because removing financial pressure does not mean a person will automatically discover a purpose in life. Money can pay the bills. Money can eliminate debt. Money can buy time and create more choices. But money does not automatically create discipline. It does not automatically create knowledge, and it does not automatically bring peace of mind. If Claire had immediately quit her job, bought a mansion, loaned money to her friends, and invested according to promises she found online, the $2 ticket could have become the beginning of a major financial crisis. But Claire chose a different path. She protected the ticket before thinking about spending the money. She calculated the taxes before creating a budget. She addressed her debt before upgrading her lifestyle. She built an investment portfolio before chasing higher returns. And she established boundaries before she began helping other people. Most of us will never win the Powerball jackpot, but this lesson still applies when you receive a bonus, an inheritance, money from selling a house, a raise at work, or any unexpected financial windfall. When your income increases, you do not need to upgrade your entire lifestyle immediately. When you receive a bonus, you should not spend it before understanding the tax consequences. When an investment rises sharply, you should not assume those returns will continue forever. And when you have more money, you still need a plan. Because the most important question is not, how much money did you receive? The real question is, how will you protect it? The $2 ticket changed the balance in Claire's bank account overnight. But it was the calm, practical, and carefully planned decisions that followed that ultimately determined her financial future.